Hello, BookTube. It's Tuesday, and that means Tag Tuesday, when we drop what we're doing and do tags. And I have a tag that I want to do. I wanted to do it a little more pointedly until it was mentioned to me by someone that it doesn't technically apply to me anymore. I, of course, was not tagged. But this is the 5-year BookTube anniversary book tag that was created, or rather, I saw it on Lucy Rutherford's channel. I don't know if she made it or not. I guess I can look around and see whether or not she's the originator of this tag. And the reason why I jumped on it right away is because up until just a minute ago, I was laboring under the illusion that I am at my 5-year anniversary. Turns out I'm not. I'm at my 6-year anniversary. But I think this still applies, right? There isn't a 6-year anniversary tag, I don't think. So I'm still going to do this one. Because I don't think I did it when I was at 5 years, because I obviously thought 5 years was 4 years. And I like the questions. They bring you up to speed on a lot. So question number 1 is, how have you changed from your first video to now? And at first, I automatically wanted to say that I have not changed, because I view my videos as conversations, not performances. But there is an element of performance involved. If you have a camera on, there aren't people actually sitting here. There is inevitably some element of performance involved. And I would say that that from those earliest videos, when I was talking very low, I was a little bit self-conscious about how long the videos were. I think that has largely worn away. I would say that the very small but definitely present performance element of my videos is much stronger. I think it makes them better viewing. But I definitely changed. It's not the same. If you look at a video of mine from 2016, you will see. Question number 2 is, what video are you most proud of and why? And this is, again, a problem because regardless of whether or not that performance aspect of my videos has changed, I view these as conversations with friends. And I pretty much thought that way from the beginning. And you don't think that way, right? Unless you're a Patrick Bateman-style psychopathic monster, you don't look back and think, I'm most proud of that conversation that I had back in 2013. With so-and-so. You don't think of your conversations that way, and I don't either. I think of it as totally disposable. I don't save my videos, for instance. I know a lot of you do. I know a lot of booktubers save their videos. I've never saved a single one of them. They're on YouTube, but I don't have them otherwise. I delete them right away. They're conversations. So I don't know that I am most proud of any video. I guess maybe it'd be the ones that I share with other people. I've done a number of author interviews. Maybe those. I was always happy when those turn out well. Question number 3 is, what's your most popular video? If we're talking popularity in terms of view count, then my most popular video, unfortunately, is popular for a very negative reason. Because my experience on BookTube was a baptism of fire, where I said the wrong thing in a comment of a video 6 years ago, and became the subject of a wildstorm of stupid hashtagging attacks and whatnot. And for a while there, the views on that video, I have not gone back to look at it. For all I know, the comment section is still roiling with huge arguments back and forth. I have not gone back to look at it. I almost left BookTube because of it. But I would imagine that the views on that video are 10 times higher than the views on anything else that I've ever done. If that's the measure of most popular, then unfortunately that would be the one. If by most popular you mean the biggest hit with you, the ones that you like the most, it would probably be my Western Canon Starter Kit. I did a series of videos called the Western Canon Starter Kit, in which I give you a very simple reading list and a little discussion of the basic pillars of the Western Canon. And throughout that series, I also give you the strong encouragement that you do not need to go to school in order to absorb these things and like them, in order to make them yours. And a lot of you over the years have responded to that. In fact, the number 1 call is, would I make a sophomore year? Would I make a Western Canon Starter Kit Part 2? And I keep thinking about doing that. Let's see here. Number 4 is, what was an unexpected surprise of being on YouTube? The number 1 unexpected surprise of being on YouTube happened as a result of that hashtag nonsense, that baptism by fire. Which is people, yes, a bunch of morons took the occasion to attack someone for everyday sexism, y'all. But also a bunch of people stepped forward and said, look, this isn't you. Don't be discouraged. Don't leave BookTube. These are just a bunch of of hashtag drunk bullies. Don't take it personally, that sort of thing. And it wasn't so much that encouragement. I wonder if maybe I would have come to that encouragement on my own with a little more reflection. It was the feeling that caused it. It was friendship. The biggest surprise for me for BookTube was learning that online friendships are as real as the real thing. I consider a lot of you to be friends who I've never met and probably never will meet. And I don't consider it a special category of friendship. It just actually is friendship. And that is wonderful. That's a wonderful feeling. Uh, let's see here. Question number 5 is, what's the hardest thing about creating videos for YouTube? At the beginning, it was technology. I was not at the beginning of this channel very tech savvy. I'm still not. It became a question of learning the simplest technology that would do the thing I wanted to do. I don't edit my videos. I don't need an editing suite. I don't walk around at all. I don't need anything like that. I don't need any kind of background music. I don't need any kind of visual effects. That has all managed to work. Enough of you seem satisfied with the tech that I use now, so the tech is not the issue anymore, and that removes all of the issues. There aren't any hard things. This is easy. The hardest thing to do is stopping at 5 videos a day. I don't know how the rest of you do it. I don't know how the rest of you do 1 video a week. I don't know how you do that. There's just so much to talk about. If there's anything hard about this, it's stopping. Let's see here. Number 6 is thoughts on equipment. What has been the most useful piece of equipment you've bought? Well, for a while there was my tripod. I spent, I think, $3 on a plastic tripod. The first one that I got actually snapped. I broke it. But I got another one for $3, and it is very useful. If on occasion I am filming somewhere other than on my fainting couch here, the tripod is immensely useful. I'm not sure that it's essential. I'm pretty sure that I could film without it. But in fact, I did for years film without it, where I just used a rubber band to stick my phone to, a little statue that had enough weight in it so that it wasn't going to move around. It's very amateur over here. Number 7 is, have you had to deal with negative feedback or comments, and how did you handle it? And I have. Yeah. There was not only that initial hashtag gate thing 6 years ago that was it was annoying and alarming to see that much just bootless hatred directed at an obvious triviality by people who had not paid any attention to the context, who didn't know anything about me, had never watched any videos of mine. They were told by a much bigger booktuber, swarm on this guy, and they said, okay, I'll do it. I don't need to examine it. I'm a thug, so I don't need to examine who I'm being told to swarm on. That was bad enough. The aspect of that was even worse was that there were a handful of people who did that swarming who had been in contact with me privately. I had been emailing back and forth with them in a friendly way. We had been discussing all sorts of plans for collaborations or shout-outs or whatever on both channels. It had been full of goodwill. And not one of those people emailed me privately and said, hey, that was a pretty dumb comment that you left. Instead, they just joined the mob. In a couple of cases, it really helped their channel growth. Birthed their channels, really gave their channel a beginning, to the point where their hypocrisy was so profound that even a year or two later, they're making sententious videos saying, hey, you really shouldn't mob people. That's just not the way to behave. I don't sign on to that behavior at all. And then when they're called out in the comments field of those videos saying, well, didn't you mob Steve Donoghue? It's like, oh, that's old. That's past history. I really don't want to dig up the past. The worst thing of that whole hashtag notion was learning that some people are like that and having none of them apologize. In all this time, it has to have occurred to some of those people. If they've watched any of my videos since then, it has to have occurred to them that they acted poorly. And yet, in the 21st century, we don't apologize for anything at all, under any circumstances whatsoever. And that was pretty bad. That was a pretty bad negative experience right at first. And then in the intervening years, I've had a couple of negative reactions. People going out of their way to antagonize me. And I have found that the easiest way, I didn't like it. I don't like blocking people. I don't like doing that. I'm such a fan of dialogue. I'm such a fan of conversation that feels like the ultimate defeat. But it does work. I mean, in all but a couple of cases of mine, it has worked. In one particular case, early on in this channel's history, I drew 2 complete psychopaths, people who are a serious danger to themselves and others. professional industrial strength trolls who decided to thumbs down every video that I make, no matter what they had going on in their life, no matter how many times I blocked them, no matter what. They decided to do that at all times, to the point where I was curious to know about them. It's entirely possible that I had an associate go to where they live and find out about them, what's going on here, and to the point where I learned a whole bunch of things, like, for instance, that on a particular occasion where the wife had to work, the husband was busy going from computer to computer. They have dummy accounts because they've been blocked and banned from my channel. At that point, the husband had to go between those computers because he saw that I just uploaded 3 videos and they all had to be thumbs down, even though his kids were waiting for him to pick them up at school. The wife was at work. It was his day to pick them up at work, and they were standing outside that school in the sleet while he was at home downvoting my videos and saying they can wait. They won't die. They can wait. And it's just entirely possible, hypothetically speaking, that is not an empty claim of mine, but that there are photos of those kids dated. And maybe a little bit of film footage of that person getting in his car in a hurry after he was done downvoting the videos of a total stranger in order to go and fulfill his parental obligations. That's when you know that you have a serious mental defect. A member of Comicsgate years ago actually said this, and it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. If you describe your online actions, not what you watch, but what you do, how you interact with online, if you describe those actions over dinner to friends, and they look at you like you're effing insane, the reason why is because you are effing insane. That's the reason why. But those are outliers. Those are extreme examples. In most cases, if a person shows up over and over again to pick a fight with me, this happened 2 years ago. I said, this isn't getting anywhere. You can't browbeat me. If you've watched even a single video of mine, you know that's true. And what you're doing here is salting the earth for any potential that you and I will have a conversation or a friendship down the line. Do you really want to do that? Do you really want to do that for no reason at all? Because I don't agree about a John Brunner novel in the same way that you do. And eventually, the person kept doing it. And eventually I said, well, obviously this is reaching an intolerable point. I am not here for you to come on here and insult me. You don't get to come on my own videos and insult me. This is not a free speech issue any more than you would call it a free speech issue to go to somebody's living room and insult them. You don't get to do that. My only option here is to block you, and I don't want to do that. I would much rather understand why you're doing this, why you think this is a good idea, to another adult. And this person eventually got to the point of just complete dissociation from reality, where they sent me an email saying, my friend, but you underestimate your amusement value. Like a comic book villain, talking like a comic book villain. That's how thoroughly convinced this person was that I am not real. I am just this screen. So any kind of behavior you do is okay. Anything. And at that point, I just wrote back and said, you should seek help. And I blocked that person. But that hasn't happened. Anything like that hasn't happened in a while. You people give me plenty of crap. You will give me plenty of crap, both in the comments field and in emails. But I'm grateful, more than I can say, that we sort of get each other, right? You're not gonna do it in a mean way. It's fun to give your friends crap. It's a lot of fun to do that. But nothing like that happens now. Thankfully, this is largely developed into a huge multi-voice conversation every day. That's just what I wanted at the beginning. That's what I still want. That's the only thing I'm ever going to want. But anyway, number 8 is... What's the matter, baby? What's the matter? Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Number 8 is, what advice would you give to someone thinking of starting a YouTube channel? Well, I wish that the location of these two questions were a little different, because it means that I'm going to be talking about negatives right before I urge you to start a BookTube channel. But nevertheless, I am going to urge you to start a BookTube channel. You absolutely should. That's the number 1 piece of advice, is if you're watching a lot of BookTube, you should make BookTube videos. The much-touted community of BookTube, the community aspect of our little corner of BookTube, is completely real. And it's amazing. I have absolutely loved it. It has been a huge positive in my life in the last 6 years. So if you're watching BookTube videos and thinking, I wonder if I could do that, do it. Absolutely do it. And the advice I would give, it would be the same as I would give with starting any other new habit. Start off slow and make it reproducible. Ground it in something that you know you can do. So don't go out and buy equipment. that's going to give you all sorts of sunk cost anxiety. Don't do that. Use the equipment that you already have. And don't put on airs about what you think you need to talk about. For Pete's sake, look at the variety. In this little corner of BookTube, look at the variety of what people talk about. They just talk about what they read. There isn't any kind of marked toe about any of that. So I would say, if you want to gussy up your channel later, if you want to experiment with your editing skills or your software skills or whatnot, go right ahead and do that. But I would say start off just simple. Just turn on the camera and talk about what you're reading. What are you reading now? What did you just finish? What are you thinking about reading? Where do you do your reading? Tags are very good as a way to organize how to talk about bookish subjects. They're very good for that. If you're going to start a BookTube channel, I would suggest that you do that. Keep it simple and keep it completely authentic. Talk to people and they will respond. You will get responses. I would also urge you, as just a matter of technicality, make one of your earliest videos the BookTube newbie tag, because people search for that. There are plenty of people on BookTube who search for that in order to find new voices in BookTube and welcome them. That's why people are doing it, not to invite you into a Ponzi scheme, but to welcome you. That's how welcoming this little corner of BookTube is. I would suggest doing the BookTube newbie tag because it's findable, it's searchable. It also gives us a fairly good thumbnail of who you are, but there are plenty of other tags that do that. Also, I would strongly urge you to watch other BookTube channels and leave comments. Engage with other BookTubers so they know you're out there, so that they will be primed and ready if you decide to join the fun. And oh my, you should decide to join the fun. I mean, look at this channel. There is no technology. There are no fairy lights. There's no background music. There are no ads. There are no calls to action. There are no sponsorships. And, well, this has seen better days. And this channel is a ton of fun. In other words, what I'm saying is if I can do it, you can do it. Give it a try. No one's got a gun to your head. If you don't like it, if some aspect of the experience bothers you, then you can just stop. Look at how many times Jason Harrigan has stopped. It's perfectly free to stop, but give it a try. You could end up really, really liking it. Anyway, that is the 5-year BookTube anniversary book tab, which I'm going to adapt to 6 years, because I don't think I did this last year. If I did, won't I have egg on my face? But anyway, that's my tag for Tag Tuesday. I, of course, tag anyone who's listening to me who has been making videos for 5 years. I know some people, I'm pretty sure they have. If you have been, definitely do this tag. I would love to see it. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up for now. That's my tag. But I'm being sort of gently kicked at the side here. I'm being gently kicked in the side. So I think that's my cue to skidoo. But I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.